Hello again, friendos! Welcome back to another video. I am on a roll. I'd like to assume I'm pre-recording these pretty far in advance, so hopefully this is still a thing I'm doing. So for this video, I know I said before I wanted to talk about the importance of referencing and how bad tracing is, right? So as you can see on the screen, I found this pose on Google. I just typed like female superhero pose and found it. So that is my reference I'm using for this artwork. I tried drawing some stuff on my own, but it was kind of hard. I have aphantasia, so I can't like see things in my head. So I use references all the time. And normal artists also use references all the time, whether or not they have aphantasia or whatever. It's a very encouraged thing to do in the art community to use references when you're drawing. So I just kind of want to talk about the differences between like referencing and tracing, basically. You could think about referencing or tracing the same way as you would writing a paper for school, right? If you find a paper that someone else wrote online and you copy it verbatim and turn it in, you're gonna get a bad grade, first of all, but you also might get suspended because you didn't write your paper, you plagiarized it. Tracing someone's artwork is the same thing. You plagiarized someone's artwork that they have already created. I'm not gonna get too much into like the law, but basically from the moment you create something, it has a general like copyright on it, right? Like you own it. So if someone copies it, they're going against your copyright, right? Because you own the image. It gets a little weird if it's like fan art or something, because you don't own characters from other shows or media that other people have created, but you still own the art that you made. And like the legality of fan art is a whole different topic, but for the sake of this video, think of tracing like plagiarizing a paper. You can say it's yours because you like quote unquote made it, but you didn't write it. You didn't put like the proper effort into it, right? The effort was you clicked on it, and then you right-clicked and you copied, and then you opened up Word and you pasted it. It's the same concept in general. So now let's talk about like, well, I found it on Google. First of all, if you go to Google and you find an image, it literally says underneath the image that like this image may be subject to copyright or whatever it says. So just because you found it on Google doesn't mean that it's not a copyrighted image and that it means it's okay to trace it, right? You can still reference it, of course, and depending on how much you reference it, credit won't necessarily be due, right? It's always like a nice thing to do anyways, but it's not as strict. There are actual databases that you can go on that have like copyright-free or royalty-free images that you can use. I still wouldn't recommend tracing them, but even for those, you're going to have to like pay for a licensing fee in order to use the images. So like tracing is not free. It's not an easy and cheap way quick way to make money. In the long run, it is illegal, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. Another thing that people will do sometimes is they'll post the image that they referenced or whatever, and they'll be like, credit to the original artist. Well, that's not credit at all. Can you imagine how you would feel if one of your drawings that you like put your heart and soul into went viral and everyone was reposting it and it just said credit to the original artist, but no one knew that that original artist was you? And also, just like by extension of that, how would you feel if someone was tracing your artwork, you know? And like, I know some people will trace like official artwork, right? And it's still not cool, even if it's like a really popular media or whatever. I do think tracing is acceptable if you're trying to learn, right? But I wouldn't post those traced images. I wouldn't take credit for them, absolutely. If you've known me for a while, you know that I did partake in that behavior when I was like 11, 12, 13, you know, before I was even really allowed to be on the internet, lying about those, yes, I'm 13 or older, terms of services on websites. But it was stupid of me to do that. It wasn't legal, it wasn't nice, it wasn't kind, you know? You should always just do your best, work your hardest. Eventually, you'll get better at art. It's not an overnight thing. My artwork I've been working on for like 13 years now, and I still I'm not at a place where I'm in love with my artwork. Like, I like it and I'm proud of it, but I think I could still be better. Of course, you're always your own worst critic. But this is 12 years, more or less, of drawing my very first original character I made, which was for the show Teen Titans, which I was obsessed with when I was a kid, which is where my love for art really started. I hope this video made sense and really just put into perspective how tracing versus referencing are two very different things, and one is highly encouraged and the other is highly discouraged. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and thanks so much for watching.